Hi, my name is Alexis, and I want to thank you guys for stopping by and looking at this video. I know a lot of you guys are wondering what are the 144,000 and who are the two witnesses. I can't tell you all of that. Not right now. For a lot of you all are not ready, but you will be really soon, for the time is among us. But before I begin, this will be part 1 of 6 videos, a breakdown. First part will be a little bit about me and who I am. I was born in December. I was born to my mother in the state of Virginia. I know that by posting this video that something will come of it, but I am not afraid. I first want to address you who may be watching. I welcome it, for I've already been told that when speaking, things will happen. But that is the least of my concern. My mother had given me up at birth. She was ashamed of me. She didn't want me. I was the second of her 5 children that she was pregnant with. I am the second oldest of the 4 that is living. I have never really felt a part of this world and how people interact. I have always been outspoken. I have always been blunt. And I've always been straightforward. I always found myself in the middle of situations that were unspeakable. And I often wondered why these things were happening and why I was being targeted. I felt different, and I knew I was different, but different how? My family do not associate themselves with me and haven't for a very long time. I am in my late 20s. I haven't had a bond with my siblings since I was young. My family hasn't spoken to me or invited me to family gatherings since I was a child. I was raised by my father's mother, who guarded and protected me and taught me many things. I never really attended church, but I was always told that he, the King of all kings, is very much real. And I say to you all, believe in him, for he is real. When I was 9 years old, I had a dream. It was the scariest dream I had ever had. I saw the destruction of man. I saw the cries of women and men, the darkness that laid upon this world, the burning smell of rubber, the emptiness in the streets, trash scattered everywhere, and the people were lost, and they were crying out for God. My ear tends to tickle sometimes. I remember that at the age of 11, I had another dream. And I was standing in my great-grandmother's hospital room. She was very sick. I loved her very much. And beside her bed stood a woman and a man. They were both beautiful, might I add. They didn't speak. They just motioned me to come closer, in which I did. My grandmother took my hand and she said, "You are very special. Please tell my family and your grandmother to don't argue and fight, for they must protect you." I didn't understand, and I thought it was the silliest and most weirdest dream in the world, being that I was just a kid. And that next night, I had the same dream of the destruction. The night after that, I had another dream. I saw 12 doors in front of me, each with steps. The steps were golden. The doors were big and tall, and they almost looked cathedral-like. But it was in the middle of nowhere. Nothing was around, and I sat there with my legs crossed. I closed my eyes and I smiled. When I opened my eyes, there was a lion. Its mane was beautiful. And I couldn't look the lion in its eyes. So I knelt before it. My head was bowed. And it purred like a cat would purr. And I thought it was the most humblest thing I've ever experienced. And it nestled its head upon mine, as if to say, "It's okay. You are loved. You are protected." I've had that very same dream every night, each one different and progressive, as if taking slow baby steps. I saw the eagle in the sky above the doors. I saw the lion walking around me in circles. I'll show you this drawing that I drew of this lion, but that'll be later. For I draw the same picture every day because I can't get the lion's face out of my head. When I was 18 years old, things in my life were different. I was severed from my grandmother by my mother, who wanted to step in and finally be a mom. A little too late, I think. I moved to a different state with my mother, in which time things were hard. My life got harder. My mother put me in foster care, took my brothers and sister back to our home state, and left me in a state that was not my own. I was abandoned. But remember, I wasn't alone. Though she may have abandoned me there, I was still humble. I wasn't angry at her. I wasn't upset. I felt more sad for her, for I didn't understand her pain or where her hatred came from. But I knew it was from a dark place. I grew up in the foster care system. Every day I had to fight to survive. I fought for the rights of other young ladies in the group home who were being wronged and mistreated. I stood up against other agencies and people of authority because I saw their wickedness and their evil ways. And every turn they tried to prosecute me, they tried to humiliate me, they tried to break me. But with every attack, I got stronger. With every attempt, I became wiser. And I was always a step ahead. I did not falter. I did not back down. I challenged everything. And what I thought was right, I made it be known. If you were wrong, I let you know. My grandma always said, your tongue can cut like a sword, Alexis. So be mindful of what you say. And my reply was always, well, if my tongue cuts, then it must be the truth that hurts. For only a person to be severed can only be severed by the truth. So does my tongue hurt you that much that I must watch what I say? My grandma used to always smile and say, no, but others may not be so welcoming. And my reply to her was always, I could care less what other people think of me, as long as they hear and see me, as long as they know that I know right from wrong. Sorry, my ear tickles sometimes. On May 9th, 2009, I was preparing for my prom. I was given a message in a dream the night before. Be careful of the company you keep, for wolves in sheep clothing come at an expense. The voice was very clear and very direct. And it said, watch your footsteps, for they are guided. At that given point in time, I awoke and I laid in bed looking up at the ceiling. And I closed my eyes once again. And there was the same dream of the lion. I was happy. That dream makes me very happy. That morning, I went shopping at the mall, trying to find a prom dress. I returned back to the group home where a young lady by the name of Crystal was waiting that lived there with me. She insisted that when we go for a ride with a guy that she liked. But for some reason, deep down in my heart, I felt pain for her. I felt sadness for her. And these thoughts in my head were as if I needed to save her from something or someone. Inside of me, something was saying, don't go. But also inside of me, something was saying, you must go. And as I walked to the car, the leaves came alive from the ground and wrapped around me and twirled around me as I walked. And the trees began to sway heavily. The wind picked up it was so rough. And the moment I placed my hand on the door, everything stopped. I sat in the back seat of the car after arguing with her for 5 minutes that I wanted to ride in the front seat. Mind you, we have never argued over something so petty. And generally, most of the time, she rode in the front seat. But for some reason, I was very adamant on wanting to ride in the front seat. But a voice inside me said, let it go. Sometimes you must sit in the back and wait. So I got in the back seat and I didn't complain. The windows were rolled down. The wind was blowing. It was a nice, hot day. We were listening to music on the radio, traveling down Route 301. And everything went silent. I couldn't hear their conversations anymore. I couldn't hear the wind. All I heard was the voice call my name. Alexis, my child, you must move over. Move over now. I thought I was tripping, but then I suddenly remembered that voice sounded so familiar. I've heard it before. So I listened, and I did as I was told. At that very instant, the voice also said, put on your seatbelt now. And it got louder, now. I did as I was told. I sat behind the driver at that time. When I looked up, there was someone standing in the middle of the road, and their hand was up like this. And I immediately said, watch out. Just thinking about it, this brings back memories. And the hand did this. The car went flying off the road. It flipped 15 times. After the car flipped 15 times, I was the only one left in the car. My purse, which was like one of those grocery bags when you go to Costco or, grocery store, is wide open just with the handles. It doesn't have a zipper to it. It was perfectly intact. I had no broken bones that I knew of, no cuts, no scrapes, no bruises. It was as if I was shielded the entire time. I immediately climbed out of the back window. There was a pole sticking through the passenger side. One of those light poles, the wooden ones. It went through the passenger window out the back. That would have been my head. I would have been gone. That was the first time I was severely attacked. Someone wanted to kill me. Because there was nobody else in the road. There was no other car. Detectives couldn't figure out nothing. They didn't know how it happened because our car was going under the speed limit. How did this happen? I saw Crystal, my friend, laying in the middle of the road, but she wasn't alone. There was a figure standing there, dark. And I wasn't afraid of it. I stepped forward and I told it, get away from her. She does not belong to you. Get away now. I felt warm on the inside. I felt fearless, strong. I felt courage. It looked at me. It backed up every time I took a step. The closer I got, the farther it backed up. I immediately said, in the name of Jesus, in the name of my Lord and Savior, in the name of the King, Yahshua, step away. It was gone. I ran to her. She was lifeless. She wasn't breathing. I placed my head upon hers. And I placed my hand on her chest. And with one pump, she was back to me. And her last words to me were, Alexis, I'm scared. I can't feel anything. She had a tree branch lodged in her head. And I told her, there's nothing to be afraid of. There's nothing to be afraid of. Fear is a choice. But God loves you so much. She laughed and said, we're going to get in so much trouble when we get home. And I said, yeah, probably. I said, but I need you to stay strong for me. I need you to believe. Luckily, in that very moment, there was a car coming. I flagged the car down. I flagged the car down, and it just so happened to be an off-duty nurse leaving from work. She helped my friend. From the other end, there was a ambulance coming back to head back to the hospital. All these people who were meant to save lives were there at the right time, at the right place. And at that very moment, I felt this feeling of drainage, of relief, and I fainted. I awoke in the hospital room with my legs wrapped up to my hip. I had broken my legs. But how could I walk? I had broken my legs. But I remember standing on two and walking and climbing out the back of that window. The doctor was amazed. He asked, how did you do it? There should have been no way you were able to walk. But I did. At that very moment, it's late here, tired. At that very moment, I was told by the doctor that my friend had passed away at 4:04 a.m. And I wasn't mad. I was happy because I knew she was safe. That night I went to sleep and was awoken by a nurse. She stood right by my bed and she was caressing my head. And she said to me, in these exact words, which I have never forgotten to this day, God must really love you. Now you know. And then she said, the journey before you will not be easy, for there will be many bumps in the road. But you must not fail. You must not give up, for it will not be an easy road. For this will be the hardest road you will ever take. But know that God loves you. And she said, you must get some sleep now, for your journey has just begun. I fell asleep instantly. I awoke that morning and I asked for that nurse. I read her name tag. And the nurse that came in the room said, we don't have no nurse here on that floor by that name. And plus, I'm the only nurse that's assigned to your room, and I've been here all morning. What's that nurse's name again? I repeated. I even called the charge nurse, and she said, I have nobody on my roster by that name. I told her, I said, I'm sorry, I must be mistaken. I sat there in my bed, smiling and just twiddling with my fingers like, wow, me. Me? What an honor. Thank you. My legs healed in 3 weeks. I was fully capable of walking. My bones were put together like new, and I didn't require surgery that much at all. And with my, they weren't broken, but they were fractured. Just a little small hairline fracture in my legs, but still, it healed in 3 weeks. From that day forward, my life has not been easy. My life has been very hard. I have seen many things. I have went through many things. Many things have happened to me, but they each have made me stronger. They each have brought me closer to him. And let me tell you, I know what my purpose is, and I know what my mission is, and I know who I am. And I was amazed. In my first week out of the hospital, I decided I was going to go to school in my cast and crutches. I had many eyes on me and people whispering in the hallways saying that, oh, that's the girl that killed her friend, or that's the girl that was in the car with a friend, and that's the girl. Yes, I am the girl. I am also the one that saved us. I'm also the one that got her the help that she needed. I am also the one that is still here. I lost 2 friends that day. I am also a survivor. I am also a person that saw many things that night that I possibly may never understand, but I know what I saw. I know. I wasn't afraid. But I couldn't tell them that because they wouldn't understand. They weren't ready to understand. When I moved back to Virginia, I was happy. I went off to college for a short period of time. But while being at college, I was targeted. I was bullied. I was harassed. I was teased every day. I was followed around campus with cameras with guys teasing and bullying and acting like immature children. But it didn't faze me because I felt sad and I felt very bad for them because they were lost. And I tried to befriend them even despite what they were doing. I tried to love them and welcome them and appreciate them despite how they were tormenting me. I left from college and went back home to Virginia, where I enrolled into a community college. Things were going good, and I thought, wow, this is the best months of my life. Like, everything's going great. And from there, I was targeted again by the dean of the school, who wanted to prosecute me for my past or from what she heard of me being in foster care or this, and third. This woman tormented me every day. But I wasn't fazed. I have stood before judges in court, people filing false charges on me, wanting to see me in jail. But I beat every case. Because when I spoke with dignity. When I spoke, my words resonated with people. And what do you think happened? Case dismissed, not guilty. Even still to this day, I am tormented by people, friends, fake friends, family, associates, colleagues, you name it. And you know what? I'm not fazed. Because you're lost. You're lost. The moral of this story that I'm telling you is that I have been homeless. I have been beaten. I have been abused. I have been tricked by fake friends, but I still welcome and loved people. And I have been unfazed. I always leave it to the Most High. I always leave it to my King. I always leave it to my God. I always left it in his hands because it was not my battle. I know when it's time to battle. Believe me. The moral of that statement is now is the time to battle. Because the time is now. There will be no more silence. There will be no more holding back. There will be no more questioning. It's time to put everything out in the open. A lot of you guys wonder, what is the 144,000 and the 2 witnesses? They are like myself. Individuals scorned by society, but they always find a way to overcome. You will seek to destroy us. You will seek to kill us. You will seek to murder us. You will seek to prosecute us because you know who we are. I am not afraid of what happens after this video. For it must happen for you to believe. I know that I didn't go through nothing for nothing. Because what I went through, it really is nothing. Because I'm built differently. I'm stronger than most. And I never folded. And I never turned my back on the enemy. I looked you straight in your face that night on the road. And I will continue to chase you down. Anyone who opposes or stands against righteousness. I seek justice. I seek redemption. I seek truth. No lies will fall upon my ears, for I will not listen to you. I know who I am. The question is, do you know who you are? The second video will be uploaded tomorrow night at 10:30 p.m. Today is January 12th. And I hope that anyone that is watching this video, if you have any questions or if you have anything to add, please do so and comment. If you choose to be negative, be my guest. For there is a lot of negativity in this world, but soon it will end. It has to, in order for this world to be reborn again.